We are going to talk about the Kitchener stitch today. The Kitchener stitch allows you to have a seamless bind off, and it looks like your stockinette stitch continues from one side of your work to the other without having your work cinched at the top. When you are at the point you have finished your last round and are ready to perform the Kitchener stitch, I have circular needles here. You can do this with circular or double pointed needles. You need to divide your stitches so that there are the same amount on your back needle and your front needle. Your right needle that has your working yarn is what becomes your back needle. Your left needle becomes your front. And I just happen to know where I need to divide my work, but I have the same amount of stitches on my back needle and my front needle. If you do not have the same amount, this will not work. It can be an even or an odd amount so long as it's the same. You need a tail that is about 5 times the width of your work. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then go ahead and thread your needle. There are 2 steps you need to perform to set up the stitch. The first stitch on your front needle needs to be purled, but you're leaving the stitch on your needle. Come to the back of your work, the first stitch needs to be knit, and that stitch remains on the needle. So I still have the same amount of needles. I haven't dropped, same amount of stitches, and I have not dropped any of them. We are now moving to a 2-stitch repeat pattern. For my front needles, I will be in a stitch purl pattern, and in the back, it's opposite, purl and then stitch. Here we go. My first stitch on the front needle as if to knit, and then that gets dropped. Coming to my second stitch as if to purl, that stitch needs to remain on your needle. I'm now going to the back and doing the opposite as if to purl, and I drop that first stitch. My second stitch as if to knit, and that remains on the needle. Coming to the front of my work, that first stitch gets knit and dropped. The second stitch is a purl and leave on. Going to the back, purl and drop, knit and leave on. Going to the front of my work, knit and drop, purl and leave on. Going to the back, purl and drop, knit and leave on. You will continue doing this until you get to the last 2 stitches. You will have 1 stitch remaining in the front and 1 stitch remaining in the back. This stitch you are going to knit and drop, and the last stitch on your back needle you are going to purl and drop, and then you can weave in your ends. I recommend making sure that you have enough uninterrupted time to complete this whole stitch. It's easy to lose your place if you get distracted and have to stop your work. As you move through it, you will see that the stockinette stitch already you can see is starting that continuation of the front of my hat around to the back. I will do one more. We're going to knit that first stitch and drop it, purl and leave on, back needle, purl and drop, second stitch, knit and leave on. Also, as you're moving through this stitch, be sure to tighten your work. There you go. That is the Kitchener stitch.